I was folding laundry in our bedroom when I heard his voice through the air vent. My husband, Jake, was in his home office directly below me, and the heating vent carried his words up like a cruel messenger. At first, I thought he was on a work call, but then I heard him say her name, Rachel. My blood went cold. I pressed my ear closer to the vent, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. He was laughing, that warm, genuine laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in months, maybe years. He said he'd been looking at apartments downtown, places with floor-to-ceiling windows and modern kitchens, places for a fresh start. He told Rachel he was just waiting for the right moment to tell me. 2 weeks, he said. He'd tell me in 2 weeks, right after our anniversary. The irony wasn't lost on me. 10 years of marriage, and he was planning his exit strategy like a business deal. I sat down on the carpet, still holding one of his stupid work shirts. My hands were shaking. Part of me wanted to storm downstairs and confront him right there, throw that shirt in his face and scream until my voice gave out. But something stopped me. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was survival instinct. I'd watched too many friends get blindsided by divorce, left scrambling while their husbands had lawyers and bank accounts already lined up. If Jake had been planning this, he had a head start, and I'd be damned if I was going to be the naive wife who got destroyed in the aftermath. I stood up slowly, my legs feeling like jelly, and walked to the bathroom. I looked at myself in the mirror, 32 years old, still in my pajamas at 2 in the afternoon because I'd been organizing our home like the dutiful wife I'd become. When did I turn into this person? I used to be the girl who backpacked through Europe alone, who started her own photography business, who didn't take crap from anyone. Somewhere between the wedding and the mortgage and the daily routine, I disappeared. But as I stared at my reflection, I felt something shift inside me. Not sadness, not even anger yet. It was clarity, cold, sharp clarity. I went back to the bedroom and pulled out my laptop. If Jake could plan, so could I. I opened a private browser window and started searching. Divorce lawyers in our state, asset protection, hidden bank accounts. I took notes in a password-protected document, organizing everything like the project manager I used to be before I quit my job to support Jake's career move 3 years ago. That decision suddenly felt incredibly stupid, but I pushed the thought away. No time for regrets, only action. Over the next few days, I became a detective in my own home. I smiled at Jake over breakfast while mentally cataloging every asset we owned. I asked him about his day while secretly photographing financial documents when he was in the shower. I even had sex with him one night, and the whole time I was thinking about how much of our retirement account I could protect. It felt surreal, like I was watching myself from outside my body. The old me would have been devastated. This new me was just calculating. On day 4, I met with a lawyer named Patricia Chen. She was in her 50s, sharply dressed, with eyes that had seen 1,000 cases like mine. I told her everything. She listened without judgment, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. When she finished, she looked up at me and said something I'll never forget. She said most women come to her after the bomb drops, when they're emotional and unprepared. But I had time. I had information, and that made all the difference. She laid out a strategy. We'd document everything, open accounts in my name only, establish my financial independence, and most importantly, we'd wait. Let Jake think he had control. Let him make the first move. Then, we'd counter with everything we had. I left her office feeling like I could breathe again. Not because I wanted to destroy Jake, but because I'd taken back my power. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a player in my own life. That night, I started working on my photography again. I'd let that dream die slowly over the years, but my camera still worked. My eye was still good. I reached out to old clients, updated my portfolio, and within a week, I had 3 bookings. Small jobs, but they were mine. Money that Jake didn't know about going into an account he'd never see. The strangest part was how normal everything seemed on the surface. Jake and I still had dinner together. We still watched Netflix on the couch. He still kissed me goodbye every morning. But now I saw it all through different eyes. Every affectionate gesture felt like a lie. Every conversation felt like a performance. I wondered if he felt guilty, if Rachel knew he was still sleeping in our bed, still pretending to be a devoted husband. I wanted a lot of things, but I never let it show. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Saturday, 11 days after I'd overheard his plan. We were supposed to go to his company dinner, one of those tedious networking events where I'd smile and make small talk with people who'd forget my name by Monday. But that afternoon, Jake got a call. Some emergency at work. He had to go to the office. He'd meet me there later. He kissed my cheek and left, and I watched his car pull out of the driveway with a strange sense of knowing. He wasn't going to the office. He was going to her. I could have followed him. I could have caught them together and had my dramatic confrontation, but that's not what I did. Instead, I got dressed in the most stunning outfit I owned, did my makeup like I was going to a movie premiere, and I went to that company dinner alone. I walked in with my head high, and I worked that room like I used to work gallery openings back in the day. I talked to Jake's boss, his colleagues, their spouses. I was charming and funny and present. And when people asked where Jake was, I just smiled and said he was handling a crisis. The devoted wife, supportive as always. But here's the thing. Jake's boss, Michael, pulled me aside at one point. He seemed confused. He said there was no emergency at the office. Everything was fine. He'd actually tried calling Jake earlier and got no answer. I acted surprised, concerned even. I said Jake must have been mistaken. Maybe it was a client issue. But Michael's face told me he didn't buy it, and I could see the wheels turning in his head. Jake had lied to both of us, and in corporate America, lies matter. I stayed at that dinner for 3 hours. I networked, I laughed, I made connections. And when I finally left, I had business card from 2 of Michael's friends who needed photography for upcoming events. I also had something else. I had planted a seed of doubt about Jake's reliability. Not maliciously, not obviously, just enough to make people wonder. If he could lie about a work emergency, what else might he be dishonest about? Jake came home at midnight. He looked exhausted and guilty, and he tried to explain that the emergency had taken longer than expected. I just nodded and said I understood. I told him the dinner was fine, that everyone missed him. I didn't mention my conversation with Michael. I didn't mention anything. I just went to bed, and Jake stood in the doorway, confused, like he'd expected an argument and didn't know what to do with my calm acceptance. The next morning was our anniversary. 10 years. Jake had made brunch reservations at the place where we'd had our first date. It should have been romantic. Instead, it felt like a funeral. We sat across from each other, eating overpriced eggs Benedict, and I watched him struggle to make conversation. He gave me a necklace, sterling silver, delicate, impersonal, the kind of gift you buy when you're going through the motions. I thanked him and put it on, and I saw relief flash across his face, like he'd passed some test. That's when I realized something. Jake was a coward. He'd been planning to leave me, probably for months, but he couldn't pull the trigger. He needed everything perfect, every detail arranged, every excuse ready. He needed me to be the bad guy somehow, or he needed the situation to be so unbearable that leaving felt justified. But I wasn't giving him that. I was being perfectly pleasant, perfectly normal, and it was driving him crazy. Over the next few days, I watched him unravel. He became irritable, picking fights over nothing. The dishes weren't done right. I'd bought the wrong brand of coffee. Little things that never bothered him before suddenly became major issues. I recognized what he was doing. He was trying to create conflict, trying to build a narrative where leaving me made sense. So I didn't take the bait. I apologized for the dishes. I bought the right coffee. I stayed calm and kind. And I could see it was killing him. Meanwhile, my photography business was taking off. Those connections from the company dinner led to more jobs. I was working again, making my own money, building my own life. I'd also been documenting everything for Patricia. Photos of documents, records of Jake's whereabouts, evidence of his lies. We were building a case, brick by brick, and Jake had no idea. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. 3 weeks after I'd overheard his conversation with Rachel. It was a Tuesday night. He'd made dinner, which should have been my first clue something was wrong because Jake never cooked. We sat down and I could see him gathering his courage. He started with the classics. It's not you, it's me. We've grown apart. He needs to find himself. I let him talk, watching him stumble through his prepared speech like a bad actor in a worse play. When he finally got to the point, when he finally said he thought we should separate, I did something he didn't expect. I agreed. I said I'd been feeling the same way. I said maybe this was for the best. I was calm, rational, almost cheerful about it. And Jake looked absolutely stunned. I think he'd expected tears, begging, maybe even anger.